first meeting with the principals and teachers of Kiswate adopted schools after posting digitization engineers. And from the look of things, the only school I'm seeing here is Uyundo. The rest are not here. They're gonna watch the video. So my name is Pius Odhiambo. I'm originally from Western Kenya. My ancestral home is near a small shopping center called Kakara, next to Luero Elementary and Junior Secondary School. On the other side of my ancestral home is St. Joseph Ochiel Elementary and Junior Secondary School, and this is next to it is Uyundo Comprehensive School. That is where I come from. Currently, I live in the city of Bartonsville in the state of Maryland, in the United States of America. Bartonsville is a small city about 30 minutes drive from Washington, D.C. The city is named after Isaac Barton's family, who settled in the area in the early 18th century in 1825. In 1825, Isaac Barton bought out his siblings' shares of his father's land and became the major landowner in the area. Isaac and his wife, Keturah, had 17 children, and in 1850, Isaac Barton became the first postmaster of the newly established post office in the vicinity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to recognize the family of Isaac Barton, whose land my house in the United States of America stands. Without Isaac Barton, the city of Bartonsville will not exist. On the same note, I want to recognize the people of Kapuny and Kanyalaro, whose land the present-day Luero's Elementary School and Elementary and Junior Secondary School, and Kakara, the shopping center, stands. Just like Bartonville's, Kakara also has a history. The two clans were unable to unlock land conflict and decided to donate the land that was under conflict to build an open-air market, which later was developed into a shopping center and a school to serve both communities. As you are aware, the word Kakara from the Luo language is the other community saying Kakara. Then the other community from the other side is also saying Kakara. There's a conflict, they can't agree. Then the name becomes Kakara. And then through wisdom from the elders, they say, because the other community is saying this is Kakara, and this is the other community saying this is Kakara, the only way out is to make it a shopping center and build a school on it. So the school will serve both communities. The shopping center will serve those communities. Recently, when I visited the area, there's also a dispensary. The dispensary will serve both communities. And nobody now has got a right to say this is Kakara when those facilities are serving both communities. That is how powerful having a conflict is important. So when you are having a conflict, please don't run away from the conflict. It could be a blessing in disguise. Now, because of those conflicts, we had a school by the name Luero, and Luero now produced a Mr. Pius, who is now addressing you from Washington, D.C. Now, I want to point out that Kakara Shopping Center and Luero Elementary and Junior Secondary School would not exist if there was no conflict. I want to recognize and appreciate the people of Kanywa, the clan of my great-grandfathers, the late Jaduong Muyoma and late Jaduong Were Kogombe, where St. Joseph Ochiel Elementary and Junior Secondary School stands. Without this family donating that land, we would not have that school. Without that community, this family donating that land, we have teachers from other communities and also other tribes teaching in that school. We will not have a job because there will no school for you to teach. So my only request to the teachers, both local teachers and teachers from other communities, when you go to St. Joseph Ochiel, or when you go to any other school, please respect the people who donated the land. Because without them donating the land, those schools will not exist. And if those people decide today to cause a conflict, there will be no school. You have not had the experience to visit other countries around the world. God has given me the privilege to visit other countries around the world where there's conflict and people cannot go to school. People cannot go to school because there's conflict. They are fighting. The communities around these schools have provided you with an enabling, peaceful environment for you to teach. If there was no peace, you will not teach. So we want you to respect this by coming to this school daily as per the dictate of the government to teach. I've visited some schools a number of times virtually, and I'm not seeing some of the teachers. I'm not a prefect to supervise the teachers, but that is the reality. That is the reality. That is the reality. So, allow me to continue with my speech. Now, where St. Joseph Ochiel Elementary and Junior Secondary School stands, the people of Kapuy, through the late Joseph Matthews Ogutu, Ko Wod Arir Queer family, and Ochieng Asimba family, Osimba family, for donating the land where Uyundo Comprehensive School sits. The Matthews Ogutu was the former Assistant Minister for Wildlife. Kiswate thanks the two families for donating the land where the present-day Uyundo Comprehensive School stands. Now, when I'm celebrating 88th birthday for my dad, you might have seen a very small girl, a very short girl in school uniform from Uyundo, and I was very interested in that girl when she dropped out of school. I talked to Mr. Odero. I sent a team to talk to her to come back to school. Now, the girl came back to school, and when I asked for the fee balance, I was given the fee balance. And I decided to offset that fee balance. What is left is very little. It's less than 1,000. And the reason why I did this, the Stacy Ogonjo comes from the family of Ochieng Asimba, which donated part of the land where Uyundo Secondary School stands. We have to respect that. And we'll soon be rolling out a scholarship which will only target the people who donated the land where the Kiswate Adopted School stands. Because without them donating the land, there will be no school. And we want these families to be respected. And Mr. Odero, by virtue of this speech, I'm authorizing you to identify the families which donated the land where Uyundo Comprehensive School sits, including the primary. If they're having any difficulties in taking their students to school, let those students come to Uyundo Secondary School and Kiswate will pay their fees. And therefore, the 3 scholarships that I'm giving to Uyundo, I want 1 scholarship to go to a member of those families and 2 scholarships to go to the other members of the family so that we have affirmative action. We cannot pretend that all is well when the families which donated the land in which the school sits are languishing in poverty. They cannot even afford to take their children to school, and they gave their land free. So we move on. The other thing, we appreciate, Kiswate thanks the 2 families for donating the land where the present-day Uyundo Comprehensive School stands. Rogers Otieno Sagana and Stacy Ogonjo, a member of Form 4 in Uyundo Secondary School, come from those families. We appreciate and recognize the contribution of these families to the development of Uyundo Comprehensive School. On the other side, we have Kagonya Comprehensive School. We recognize and appreciate the family of Siambe Kongira, the family of Okoth Kondulo, and the family of Sedo Kambare from Kagonya, Onyala, and Kawayo for donating the land where Kagonya Comprehensive School stands. The same way, in the same spirit, I want Kagonya Secondary School to identify if there are any members of those family who donated the land in which Kagonya Secondary School stands, and they are unable to take their children to school. Let those children come to Kagonya, and Kiswate will pay their fees. We are moving on. The same applies to the people of Kagonya Ukaka, who donated the land where Barodar Comprehensive School stands. At Sega, the same, we want them to be identified and let them be taken to Barodar, and Kiswate is going to pay their fees. At Sega, I want to recognize and appreciate the Catholic Church for creating a conducive environment for the establishment of St. Anne Sega Group of Schools, which comprises of Sega Girls Primary School, Sega Boys Primary School, and Sega Township Secondary School. I want also to appreciate the family of Jokoriwo for donating land where Sega Township Secondary School stands. At Lifunga, on the same note, I want those families, if there are people, students in their families that are struggling to pay school fees, let them go to Sega Township and Kiswate will offset their fees. At Lifunga, Kiswate recognizes and appreciates the family of Lifunga Kubiero for donating the land where Lifunga Comprehensive School sits. My friend Daniel Juma comes from the Kobiero subclan. Mr. Juma is an alumni of St. Mary's Ukwala High School and is currently the Executive Director for Global Peace Foundation in charge of African region. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Daniel Juma, who introduced me to Samulundong of China. Samulundong translated in the Luo means Dongrokdala. Kiswate Digital Academy will use the concept of Samulundong or the concept of Dongrokdala to digitize our schools. The same applies to the people of Sumuru Kuala, Jokamuganda Kokuako, who donated the land where St. Mary's Ukwala High School, Ukwala Boys Elementary and Junior Secondary School, and Ukwala Girls Elementary and Junior Secondary School sit. We want, if there are families from this, if there are students from these families who are struggling with paying school fees, let them be admitted at Ukwala Boys, let them be admitted at Lifunga Girls, and Kiswate will see what to do. At the time of building these schools, owning land was a sign of wealth, and that has remained the same to date. Most of the schools sit on fragmented piece of land with little or no ground for sports and leisure. My initiative aims to join these schools built on fragmented pieces of land to form one very big school in the cloud called Kiswate Digital Academy, where resources can be shared without overburdening the parents. If Kiswate Digital Academy succeeds either in Kenya or in any other country in Africa, as an internationally recognized philanthropist, I intend to write off all fee arrears for students at Kiswate adopted schools before making education in these schools 100% free. I had inquired with the principals of adopted schools in August last year, and the principals pointed out that they are overburdened by high fee arrears. The schools are unable to service their debts, and at times even pay wages for board of management employed by workers. This will be history if Kiswate Digital Academy succeeds. I intend to absorb all board employed workers to be employees of Kiswate Digital Academy. Look here, the reasoning is this. We are building one big digital academy, one big school, where we'll have small school. And any student from our community will not need to go outside our community to go for basic education. With this big school, a student can go to an elementary school within the academy, a junior secondary school within the academy, and a high school within the academy, and from there go to the university. And God willingly, you never know, we may even have a university that will exist in the cloud. So a student can go from class and kindergarten to the university in the academy, and then live in those villages. We are going to have digital villages and work for companies in America. That's the dream I have. That's the dream that I have. Now, the schools are unable to service their debts, and at times even pay wages for unable to pay wages for board of management employed workers. This will be a history if Kiswate Digital Academy succeeds. I intend to absorb all board employed workers to be employees of KDA as they continue serving our school, so long as they are ready to learn new ideas and adopt technology in their work. This is the reason why I'm deploying Kiswate engineers to those schools for a period of 2 years. Why are they going to call engineers? Some are even medical doctors, but I'm calling them engineers. Some of them are accountants, I'm calling them engineers because I'm training them to be engineer. From the word engineer, they are going to re-engineer how our schools operate, align it with the vision of Kiswate Digital Academy, and align it with the best practices worldwide, so that we can have schools where workers are employed on time, where students are digital learners, where teachers, if they comply and learn this technology very quick, and by January, they are able to help us admit the students using this technology, I may decide to reward teachers by sponsoring remedial classes for grade 10 in all the adopted schools. And when I do that, it therefore means when the students report in January, then before the academic year ends, the syllabus should be gone. They should not be issued like we are carrying over syllabus in 11th grade. The syllabus should be gone. Those are the things that we are thinking about. And I'm in a very serious discussion with our development partners, supporters, and whatever, just to get one development partner who is gonna support teachers so that the syllabus is cleared on time. The syllabus is cleared on time by having extra time, having extra lesson, by making sure when the students are admitted in January next year, and the second day they're in class, they're being taught. That's what we do here in America. If the school's day starts on 5th of January, that's the day for admission, everything is done online. When they go to school, they have done admission, they have done everything. They only go to school to be taught. So teaching starts exactly at 8 a.m. or at 7:30 a.m. on the first day of school. Why? Because they are using technology. These other things that are done on the admission day, they do it online. So that by the time they come to school, they have done all those things and they are ready to be taught. This is what we want to be done at Uyundo Secondary School, Mr. Odero. After the government has identified the number of students that will join 10th grade at Uyundo Senior Secondary School, we want you to move with the speed to collaborate with the Kiswate so that we admit those students online before the first day of school. That is why I'm bringing a digital lab. I'm not bringing a digital lab to Window for aesthetic nature, for bragging purposes, for computers to gather dust. No. I'm bringing a digital lab so that if school starts in January 6th, I can recall the digital educators on January 2nd to work for Kiswate, to admit students in advance before the first day of school. And when they are working with the Kiswate, Kiswate will pay them. And we can only pay you if you can use the technology. And because this is going to give you a job, look for your own laptop. Get a loan from Mwalimu Sacco. Get your own laptop. Get a decent phone. And I assure you, within 1 year of employing you, you will buy several thousand and thousands of laptops. Let me have a break so that I don't... my message goes around. And this story, I want to give it to Mr. Yoya. Mr. Yoya, If you come from a village, I know you were born several years ago, maybe 70 years ago or 60 years ago. Let's put it at 70 years ago. And at the time of your birth, before independence, the community where you come from, they were going to the garden, shamba, using a jembe. And 70 days down the line, the same community where you were born 70 years ago, they are tilling their land using a jembe. There's something wrong with that community. Something needs to be fixed. The jembe has evolved. The jembe has gone under development. Nowadays we have solar-powered jembe. Why are we not having solar-powered jembe in our communities? The jembe has evolved. We have petrol engine, diesel engine powered jembes. Why we are not having those in our community? Yet they are there in China. Yet they are there in other countries. Are those countries better than us? So, and the problem is not even resources. The problem is being conservative. We cannot live in the present day and time, 70 years down the line, when you are born, and you expect your grandchild, your granddaughter, your son and your daughter to live the same lifestyle which you lived 70 years ago. We must give room to evolve. We must give room to evolve. And this is what Kiswate Digital Academy is all about. Now, let me go back to my speech. Now, if Kiswate is willing to absorb all the board-employed teachers and staff at our schools so that release our schools the burden of being in debt year in, year out, to release our schools the burden of having demotivated employees. What about the TSC employed teachers? So any teacher who will take our training seriously and become digital educator within 1 year will be among the first 50,000 TSC registered teachers Kiswate intends to absorb. They will remain employees of TSC during the day, but in the evening, they will be allowed to moonlight as remote educators for 2 hours before or after school. This will reduce teachers' shortages in Kenya by about 35%. And this cannot take place if there is no technology. And I'm bringing the technology. So if teachers can drop this idea of being conservative, smell the coffee, and cooperate, then the country as a whole is going to benefit a lot. So what we are just about to do will not only benefit you as Madam Cynthia, the teacher in charge of Kiswate at Oyondo, but it's going to benefit the whole country. What about Kiswate will do this using technology. Yesterday, I appointed 3 Kiswate engineers and posted them to 3 of these schools. The main job is to train and prepare teachers for arrival of 10th grade students in senior secondary schools. The cohort will be the first group to use Kiswate Digital Register. The register will be downloadable from the App Store for free. We are not going to charge anybody for downloading the register. It will be an open source software. And this will be effective from November 16, 2025. Our engineers are doing very well. They have already started developing it. I'm the architect who has designed the register, an architect, and then the masons that are going to put bricks in the plan are now our engineers, the software engineers. So, and the most difficult job when you are building a house is drawing the plan. If the plan is not drawn well, if the quantity surveyors do not give us the strength of the metal we're going to use in the foundation, even if you have the best mason, that building is going to collapse. It has taken me 11 years to design the whole of Kiswate app, and I'm very sure my masons will do a good job. One of such products is the Kiswate Digital Smart ID. So we are not going to charge you for the software, but we are going to charge you through the parents for any product that will be connected to the software. One of the products that will be connected to the software is the Smart ID. We cannot use the usual ID that we use. I'm made to understand that currently students pay between 100 to 300 for those IDs depending on the school. That is the money that we intend to collect from them directly, the way they have been doing it, so long as the schools tell the parent in their admission letter so that things are clear. Now, what happened to the person who have been doing that job? We are not in the business of firing people using technology. What will you do if the person that has been doing that job is a Form 4 dropout or a Form 4 graduate and is willing to work with us? We'll train him how to use the technology to produce the Smart ID, and then he becomes our employee. So we are not going to fire anybody using technology. No, we are not bringing robots to replace teachers. We are bringing a technology so that we can have a teacher that can operate between the analog teacher and the robot in Japan, which are teaching. So that is what we intend to do. So it is a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. Now, the Smart Digital ID is going to be the only point of access tool to digital dining hall. That will act as a meal card. Digital library, when we use it like that, will be a library card. Digital gate, when we use it for the student like Uyundo to check in at the gate before they get in, that one will be using it as a gate pass. Where digital lab, when we use it at a lab, we'll use it as a lab pass. And the digital classroom will be using it to mark the attendance and discipline register, so that Mr. Odero, as the principal, after 4 years, the student want a school living certificate. You don't need to go through your records. No, you just go to the computer and put in the ID for the student, and the computer will give you all those disciplinary issues that the student have been facing. And with the permission of Mr. Odero and other principals, my team of engineers will be able to generate an automatic school living certificate. So this issue of writing school certificate will be a thing of the past. It will be a data-driven school living certificate. These are the things that we are going to bring to the community. And these things are not rocket science. Our softwares are user-friendly. They are user-friendly. So the engineers are Kiswate engineer Rose Debra Pio. This will be an in-person employee based at St. Mary's Ukwala High School. She will work at the school for 4 days on Monday to Thursday to digitize the school, establish Kiswate TV, no, Ukwala TV. Remember, we have Kiswate TV. Now we are going to have Ukwala TV. And at Ukwala TV, we need 3 languages of broadcasting. We need broadcasting in Doluo, that's why we have Serega. We are broadcasting in Kiswahili, so that's why we have Mr. Hendera and Mrs. Betty Kobe. And we need broadcasting in English, which is very common among the teachers. And on Friday, she will work from Lefunga Girls to help the school come up with Lefunga TV. Now, Kiswate engineer number 2 is James Oduor, is going to be a hybrid employee at St. Joseph Uyundo Secondary School. He will work at the school from Monday to Thursday to digitize the school and establish Uyundo TV. And on Friday, he will work from Kagonya to establish Kagonya TV. Now, why hybrid? During those days, not taken up by his studies, he will be physically present at the school. But during those days, when he's required to go to school, he has not graduated yet, he will be required to work online. If I am able to talk to you and work online from Washington, D.C., do you think working from Nairobi at Uyundo Secondary School will be a problem? No. I've already installed internet. We are going to bring computers, we're going to bring laptops. I've already put the engineer, even if it is one laptop, even if it is one tablet, that is what we are going to use. Now, Kiswate engineer, Dr. Michelle Ouma, a hybrid employee, will work from Sega Township from Monday to Thursday to digitize the school and establish Sega Township TV. And on Friday, she will work from Barodar Secondary School to start Barodar TV. Dr. Michelle Ouma is a pharmacy student at the School of Medicine and Health of Kenyatta University. They go for tri-semester, and she does not have long holidays like James. So what will happen? We're going to agree with the school where he's posted so that he travels to the school 3 times in a month, and the rest of the days he will be teaching or digitizing the schools remotely, the way I'm doing it from Washington, DC. And because our schools are not fully integrated into the digital world, the 3 engineers will be assisted by some engineers who will work on need basis. Dr. Fred Nundu, all of you know Dr. Fred Nundu, Dr. Lavlina Tianga, Dr. Mildred Mora, Dr. Michael Mutuma, and Kiswate engineer Duncan Cheruiyot as needed. In the event that these my engineers, who are products of my program, Kiswate Scholarship Fund, have undergone training for 2 years, and these engineers were recommended to me for scholarship by the community. I'm now using them to go back to the community, which recommended them to me so that they can create an impact and a lasting impact in the community. Now, any principal who has any issue with the terms of service to get in the terms of service of Kiswate engineers that have already been posted to their schools, to get in touch with me on a 30-minute Zoom meeting every Wednesday from 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. Nairobi local time, from July 16, 2025 to July 16, 2027. Those are 2 years. When their terms of engagement ends under the current contract, if the appointments are approved by the Board of Management of Kiswate Adopted Schools, if the appointment will be approved by the Board of Management of Kiswate Adopted Schools. Now, the thing is this, we are trying a new thing, and we must open a channel of communication. And the channel of communication is that I want the principal to engage me one-on-one. Let them tell me where the difficulty is in those terms of service for those engineers. Let them, apart from asking Yoya, let them come to the Zoom meeting and engage me on the same, so that we can unlock the problem. And of course, when you are introducing a new thing, you expect a conflict. I'd already told you in my earlier story that there's a conflict between Kanyalaro community and the Kapuni community of Luero that led to the establishment of Luero Primary School. You never know the conflict that we are going to have in these schools, or the conflict that what you are seeing as a conflict may lead to something bigger or something better. So bring those conflicts on my table. And if I'm unable to solve the conflict, we have a very efficient board chaired by Mr. Fred Wambia, and we have Resbuelo Mondi, we have Dr. Dano Nunga, and we have Mr. Yue, the CEO. In that board, they will make rational decisions for the betterment of the student. Now, this brings me to the end of my speech, and I expect the students from Moyondo Secondary School to join me anytime.